Okay, so sometimes it's not really the best option to just sit down and start looking at big houses and saying, oh, I want that one, I hope I can afford it. Sometimes it's better to say, what can I afford? And then kind of base your house hunting on what you can afford. So we have this, what we call the total expense ratio, and we use this to kind of determine what you can afford. Okay, in terms of monthly payments. Now you'll see we start with 36% of the borrower's monthly gross income. So if you have an annual income, we would divide that by 12, right? But it's 36%, so you would take 0.36 multiplied by that. And we do that because financial institutions, they assume that you can afford, if you pay 36% towards your house, that leaves 64% for everything else. But that has to include everything else. That's got to be, groceries, gas, entertainment, electricity, all of your, what is it called? Utilities. If you have kids, you've got school expenses, right? Everything else. So I think that 36% might be a little high, but that's not for me to decide. In the middle, you see we have monthly housing expenses, which is property taxes and insurance. And if you don't know that, but you know where you're job hunting, you can Google approximate property taxes and homeowners insurance in that area, and you can find some approximations. And then we do monthly loan payments on the end. These are car loans and student loans. Okay, so if you know that you have those right now, and it does say other loans, including credit card debt. So if you have a recurring credit card, you pay $400 a month every month on your credit card. That is just recurring. That's what you have every month. Then you need to include it in this because that's a recurring monthly payment. Anything that is the same and it's a loan that you've borrowed, and credit cards are considered a loan from a credit card company, you're going to want to include that in this monthly loan payments. Okay? So let's do an example. Brian and Jane both work and have a combined gross income of $65,000 a year. Notice that says per year. They estimate property taxes will be $1,200 and insurance will be $900, again, per year. Brian takes the bus to work, but Jane has a car payment of $200 per month, and they're both paying off student loans for a combined $700 a month. How much of a monthly payment can they afford? Well, based off this formula, so we use our formula. We've got the 36% of the gross monthly income minus the monthly housing minus monthly payments. I abbreviated. So let's figure out 0.36 their monthly income. Well, if they make $65,000 a year, there are 12 months in a year. So I can divide that by 12. Monthly housing. We've got property taxes plus insurance, but that's per year, so I also have to divide that by 12. Minus the monthly payments, $200 for Jane's car, $700 for their student loans. Okay, so when I like to do this in steps, I don't know why, maybe because I'm weird, but this first piece, 0.36 times 65,000 divided by 12, gives me 1950. So that's kind of the highest they could be is 1950 if there was nothing else taken out. But they've got approximately $175 a month in insurance and property taxes. And they have $900 in student loans and car loans. And this is assuming they have no credit card debt, right? Or any other kind of debt. That means they can afford approximately $875 a month for their house payment. So when they're looking at things, they're trying to decide whether or not they can afford, this is the house payment they're looking for. Now, can they afford the 15-year mortgage if a payment for the 15-year mortgage are $893.60? And the answer is no. They are maxed at $875. And if you right now said, oh, well, $893 is only $18 more than that, they could stretch it and make it work. Okay, well, where are you getting that money from? Are you not putting gas in your car? Are you not eating? Are you not feeding your dog? Are you not taking your kid to the doctor? Remember, money only stretches so thin. So even though this is the max that you can use, I would be very hesitant to hit that max because what do you do if Jane's car breaks down? What do you do if Brian gets a new job and he has to buy a car, right? So many things can happen. You got to leave yourself some wiggle room. Okay, now you might say, well, Okay, they can spend $875 a month, but when I look on Zillow, it doesn't say this house payment is $875, right? Because that depends on your interest rate and everything else. So we need to find out the value of a house they can look for, which is where our PV, our present value function, comes into play. So you can see this is another Excel function that if we use equals PV and then the monthly interest rate, number of payments, amount of payment, boom, boom, boom. Notice it's very much the same or similar as the payment function. Okay, so let's assume that Brian and Jane can afford their monthly payment of $875. Let's determine the mortgage they can afford if they really want to do a 15-year mortgage with a fixed rate of 3.5%. Okay, so because they're trying to find the mortgage amount, that is present value. Interest rate, 0.035, that's annual, so I have to divide it by 12. Number of payments, 12 months in a year, 15 years in the mortgage, and they can afford $875 a month. If you type that into Excel exactly like you see it, it will spit out $122,397.73. So this really should be the upper end of what they are looking for. You don't really want to look much higher than that. So, okay, so Jane finds another condo that requires a mortgage of $121,000. They want to use the 15-year fixed. Can they purchase this condo? Well, Excel says that they can purchase a condo up to $122,000. So if this one's only $121,000, yes, Jane just hit the jackpot, and that's the condo they should buy. Okay, so now let's look at the last problem in this section, I believe. Yep, last problem. Sierra can afford to spend $300 a month on car payments. Use the present value function to determine how large of a car loan she can get with a 3.25% APR loan for 72 months. And this is also a good way to start looking for cars. What can you afford? Don't go in blind and hope that they meet what you need. Go in and say, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an $18,000 car or whatever. Okay, so Sierra, present value. Her APR that she can secure is 3.25%, but we need monthly. It says 72 months, so that goes in the middle. And she says, I'm willing to pay $300 a month for a car payment. You type that into Excel exactly like you see it, and Excel is going to spit out $19,600.44. So Sierra can look for roughly a $19,000 car, and that will make shopping for cars just a little bit easier.